Here's an okay starting equipment setup with 1,000 gold. Here we see a helmet with a neck guard. Good for 1,000 gold because it can sometimes help you to survive a headshot. What you don't want to take is a flat-topped helmet, since you'd be paying quite a bit of extra gold for just a +1 head armor stat. Compared to the helmet with the neck guard, of course. This is the most important part of your armor that you will be upgrading first once you get more gold. The red gambeson is the best body armor you can afford after spending money on essential things, like a proper shield. It is important to have at least average armor, since otherwise you'd risk dying in one hit to enemies, and take damage even from things like horse bumps and glances. Here's your default boots. Boots aren't really worth the price, since you'll rarely get hit in the foot, and when you do, it's usually piercing damage, like arrows. Unless you're a cavalry, you shouldn't really be spending your gold on boots. Ever. Here are your gloves. You might think, who would hit me in my fists? But there's a catch. It actually gives you body armor, meaning it protects not only your fists, but your whole upper body. They add a +2 to the red gambeson's body armor value. Sometimes a lower tier body armor and gloves are a better choice than just a higher tier body armor without gloves. However, most gloves other than leather gloves aren't usually worth the price. Here's your default sword. The Swadian default sword costs no gold. Upgrading it gives +1 damage each tier, which means you pay around 200 gold for the first point of damage and around 100 extra for the next point. That is not really worth your gold, now is it? Here's your shield. When choosing a shield, it would first be wise to think, will I be facing crossbows or not? If yes, you have to pick a shield with a resistance higher than 12 to be safe from the most common crossbow, the heavy crossbow. If you take a shield with low enough resistance, a crossbow is able to simply penetrate the shield, shooting right through it like paper. Most of the time, though, you'll want to have a good shield anyways, especially as an infantry. So, you'll want to pick the best or the second best shield available. Most of the time, however, the best shield isn't really worth the price, while the lower tier shields get penetrated by crossbows. Almost every single infantry should be picking the second best shield on every faction. Here is your support weapon. In this case, an all-pike. It can fend off enemy cavalry, and it can be used for stun support in infantry fights. You might leave this weapon out completely, replace it with throwing weapons, or even a two-handed weapon, depending on what your team needs. Generally, unless your team captain calls out otherwise, it should always be a polearm like a war spear, pike, or all-pike. Let's see what happens when we throw a noob with bad equipment against someone with balanced gear. We will let the noob hit first, since he's only starting the game. Now let's compare the difference in how many hits the best and second best Swadian shields can take from a sword. No one saw the stab. And now, the wild axe-wielding Lord appears. Six hits. And again, 6 hits. And now, here's the reason why two-handers aren't usually your best bet. Not even to speak about not being able to block more than one attack direction at once, like with a shield. So in short, pick a helmet good enough to protect from at least one melee hit to the head. Pick the best body armor that you can reasonably afford. Pick a proper shield. If you have an axe available, it's always better than a sword. Default boots are the way to go. And remember to get a support weapon.